Welcome into our players-only meeting brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigar. Located at the corner of Kingston Pike and South Peters Road, membership in the club gets you your own personal locker where you can keep cigars, booze, anything you like. 15% off Blue Smoke's elite selection of cigars. That goes with the membership, as does 10% off at McScrooge's Wine and Liquor. Access to their lounge area. And then back there you got card tables, you got golf simulators, you got HD TVs. It is a great place to go and relax. If you enjoy a cigar, do yourself a favor, go check out Blue Smoke Cigar. And here's the thing, if you don't have a membership, you can still go out there, buy your cigars, and get a look around. See for yourself why I love the place. Blue Smoke Cigar. All right. We are 1/6 of the way through the season. We were just talking about it. After next week's game against UTEP, we'll be a quarter of the way through. Last year's team started, everyone thought it would be average to good. I think fans thought it would be good. Most of us in the media cautioned and said, you're going to take a step back this year. You're probably going to be pretty average. Turns out you were terrible. You got worse as it went on. There have been teams that have gotten better at Tennessee as they went on. Seems like it's been a while since you've seen one of those, but there were, trust me, kids at home, that has happened in the past. What do you see this team doing? After 2 games, and I have a feeling it's gonna be positivity and negativity from the same old folks. But in all honesty, with a critical eye, do you see this team being good by year's end, being average by year's end? To me, that would be the goal. At this point, where I'm looking, if you can get to average by year's end, 6-6, or do you think they're going to be bad at year's end, like they've started? In my view,
well, how I see it is this: I see a lot of potential, but potential just means you haven't done anything yet. I get that. But whether the team is better or not, I really don't care. Just win, because I'm not seeing too many other teams. Well, I'm just keeping it real. I'm not seeing the other team out there getting much better as far as we consider a good football team. We've played on them and we've watched them. All I'm worried about is winning. Be the best that day. That's all you got to be.
Sort of say that, but the biggest problem we have right now is offensive line and defensive line are usually not freshmen. All of a sudden a freshman can come in and be a dominant force or a really good player by the end of the year. They take usually another year. The problem I see there is those are your 2 biggest holes. And with that being the case, I don't see how those just get
how much room for improvement there is.
Yeah, I don't see how that could happen. Next year, maybe. But this year, right now, unless you find bodies that we haven't seen and put them in, and all of a sudden the lights cut on and they become a different person, and open up and there's an S under there, I don't see it right now.
I'll let these guys answer, and I'll come back to play off your point. Where are you? Good, bad, average? Where is this team at the end of the year?
I think they're going to be a little better than average, and I base
better
it on
than average. Okay,
a little better than average, and I base it just on one of the favorite things seen yesterday in the game. Marquez Callaway doesn't field the punt the right way. He comes right off the field. You see Pruitt just rip it into him, and so when you see that accountability, he's not going to let any little detail slip. And when you've got that accountability at the top, you're going to have it at the bottom too. And I think that's going to bode well throughout the season to hold the guys accountable.
But I still say you've got deficiencies in talent. Like, I mean, in 2 big positions in the trenches, which you don't win in the SEC unless you're good there. I mean, I don't disagree. Yeah. Coaches are going to coach them up. But my thing now at this point, if guys, you gave a scholarship to a person and ETSU gave a scholarship to a person, the person you gave a scholarship to should be able to whip this person 10 out of 10 times, no problems. We're not worried about fast moving on. We're going to play base and beat.
Right. And this also was, a couple of years ago, Alabama played Georgia Southern. And Georgia Southern ran for 300 yards on them.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, Georgia Southern runs a wishbone. ETSU didn't come out with some gimmicky system and do something to you that you weren't. It was just mano-a-mano football, and you couldn't blow them away off the line of scrimmage in terms of your run game. You couldn't get to the quarterback as well as Mars Hill did. So, to me, I agree with Will.
And I think my thing with it is we know our offensive line, they're not going to be dogs. They're not going to be the guys that are going to come together, absolutely take a defensive lineman and plant them in the ground. And I think
not yet, anyway.
No, and I think
not this year.
And I think what Pruitt has to know, and this goes back to the coaching, is he's got to know that. And so I just got to find some way to get him in front of the defense. Because at the end of the day, on defense, you still have to make the tackle.
Right.
And if I can just get a body in front of him, that'd be better than what they did against West Virginia. And so
Assignment football.
if we could coach them to just, hey, even if you're a yard and a half in the backfield, I think Jordan's pretty good.
Yes.
If you can just get there and maybe just scoot your hips around to try to get it, it's going to give us a chance to get a couple
I would
years.
just love to watch that teaching session. Okay, you're going to get blown back, and then we're going to teach you how to do this move and get him out of the way. I want to watch that practice period.
I'm going to let Brian chime in before I go on get that wheel. Get it, Brian.
Good, bad, or average.
Right now, I have to agree with y'all. We're bad. Our offensive line is definitely bad, but there's definitely room for improvement. And I believe in Coach Pruitt. I think he's a football coach. Judging from the guys, they tell me he knows what he's talking about. And I think we're going to do a little bit more mixing and matching.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get our struggles figured out.
Well, and that's what I said. Are there guys at other positions right now that are not playing? And can you move somebody to be a pass rusher for you?
Oh, well, we were talking off camera. It doesn't have to be moving them over there full time.
No.
If you're facing a huge key third down, if you get
Third
Florida
long.
backed up,
Go work.
Dominic Wood Anderson looks like a pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
Let's see. Random moment of practice. Let's put him out there and see if he can rush a passer, and we'll save that up, and that'll be our special thing. Now that's a once in a season type thing I'm talking about, but you're talking about moving some guys around, see what else is out there. I'm just saying you could go to the offense and find guys. If you don't have a pass rusher, that's one thing. My problem is you might be able to find somebody who can rush passer. You can't just go move somebody over to offensive line.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the problem is you can't.
That's a this year, next
That's
year.
a development. That's a development in the weight room, putting on weight, putting on pounds, getting up to a level of strength level. It's not a quick fix there, but I do think in the pass rushing, I'd be looking for guys. I'd be timing guys to get off the ball and looking at wide receivers that are, the heavier guys. I'd be looking at tight ends. I'd be looking at anybody that can get off the ball and give me a presence on the outside.
One thing that I think is a concern moving forward in terms of expecting improvement is some guys have been in the system under two staffs now, and Jonathan Kongbo, he may have a great game at some point, but at this point I would have to say that light isn't going to come on. He's not going to become Superman over the last 10 games of his UT career. Tyler Bird, who came up on our show today, I think we know what you got in Tyler Bird. Now, doesn't mean they're bad guys, doesn't mean they're terrible football players, just means they're not what they were cracked up to be. And at this point, maybe they can surprise. And I'm singling out two, but there are many guys on this team. Everybody who points to and did this during the offseason, look at all of our 4 and 5 stars. Yes, look at them. There aren't many who play up to that level. Right. And if they haven't played up to that level by now, it's hard to picture. Oh yeah, game 3 is when it all comes together. You've not only got holes to fill from guys that transferred out, from guys you didn't sign, and boy, yesterday there were a lot of misses. Cade Mays at Georgia, T. Higgins at Clemson, Mari Rogers at Clemson, Dylan Jackson at Stanford. They were all over the place. Preston Williams, who left here, Colorado State. Jalen Hurd. Now, that was different because he had 4 games left, but he looked like a receiver yesterday. He looked like a tight end yesterday at Baylor. But you've got those kinds of misses and those kinds of holes, but you've also got the roster. They're on the roster, but they're holes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
They're on the roster, but they're not what they were supposed to be. I just think that's an awfully big ask to say you're going to be good by season's end. That's why I would cap it and hope you get to average. I think average is probably the max for this bunch.
And you mentioned all the different coaching staffs and the players like Congo, and like when you have different coaching staffs, different schemes, it's like being a freshman all over again. So I feel like there could possibly be room for improvement once he gets more adjusted and more comfortable in the system for guys like Congo to start showing up and have a lot of improvement towards the end of the year.
Maybe
It can. And let's
You've been in
hope
the
it
NFL, I have
does.
not.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope it does. But I mean, they're pass rushing on third and long doesn't require coaching too much. Eventually, it requires can you do it or can you not.
Well, I tell you, the pass rusher's got a heck of a coach. That Tracy Rocker. I know what he was when he played. And the last time I seen him, boy. But now they got a guy like him coaching. I'm excited about those guys improving.
Well, here's another thing that you can't lose sight of because you played you did a good job in your coverage against East Tennessee State. Now, as Jimmy pointed out, there were some busts. They had a guy wide open for a touchdown, 5 yards behind your DB. You blitzed and you couldn't get anywhere near their quarterback. He just overthrew it. So there were some holes there. But the coverage, we're talking about offensive line is going to be a problem, pass rush is going to be a problem. Don't take coverage out of the mix because you still got kids back there.
Right, but that can get better over the season. I give
It
that a lot
can.
more chance to be better by the end of the year.
It can, but it's going to be gradual too.
Right, but it can be better because you got freshmen.
Well,
They'll
I
be
think-
better by the end of the year.
Well,
And you've also got some
go against
playmakers
Willie
there.
on that one. I think the offensive line can come together as a unit and be better faster than those guys in the defensive backfield because
Really?
those guys on the corner on out absolutely. Because offensive line, they move together as a unit, as a core, and play assignment football. They can at least get in front of the guy. A cornerback and defensive back.
Well-
I'm saying worst case scenario. But what I'm saying is, if a cornerback and
Last few
defensive
years,
back.
I'm not so sure of that, but all right.
You can get caught looking in the backfield. You can get caught out of place. You can blow up coverage on a sight adjustment by the receivers. Those the defensive backs a little bit more mind than use their mind a little bit more than what the offensive line has to use in order to get back.
I think you could spin that either way because somebody could also turn around and say, yeah, you're on an island, but you can also just be one hell of an athlete and you can go make an athletic play. Whereas if you're the left guard and you play your ass off on one play and the center sucks,
Well,
the
see,
line's
that's what I
gonna
said,
get blown
moving
up. So
together-
the
together as a
positives can be
core.
negative and the negatives can be positive
But as a
depending on your
core,
point of
I
view.
think with an offensive line though too, you can do a lot more to mask their
Yes.
ineffectiveness.
Yeah.
You know, if I got a guy that can't pass rush block at all, we can run a rollout and have it to where those guys sink back.
or,
But-
or chip it back
Or
on.
like you said,
Or
on
you can
the-
sign Josh Dobbs back because he was the mask. Josh Dobbs was the mask.
He was. He
That-
was.
If you made a movie out of it, it'd be called The Mask because he masked all the.
An
They have
incredible
not
quarterback.
had a consistently strong offensive line since the one you talked about in the show. Basically, the one that Dooley inherited.
Yeah.
Right.
You've not had a good offensive line that would line up and just blow everybody off the ball since then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
because the best we're talking about now is guys catching guys and putting their bodies in front. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not talking about can these guys get up to a level where they're knocking guys into third level. No, that's the problem.
Yeah, it is.
You're hoping for you're hoping to take something bad and say, how does the bad thing we have, can we use it just a little bit? And that's what we're going
Well,
for.
you're just trying to hide the problem, whereas
Well,
it's not
until
a.
you can bring in guys that are
But
better
that's why I
than-
think it's going to be a tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough run. Anybody's expecting some light switch to come on, and all of a sudden this team's going to finish 8-9 wins.
It's-
It's not going to happen.
Especially when you watch and you see an Auburn defensive line,
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
what
ugly.
it does,
That's gonna be ugly.
and Alabama's defensive line.
You know, when I think,
Those guys can
when I-
play.
Sterling doesn't like any mention of Alabama.
I'm just saying. I've seen those guys. Auburn's good. Alabama's good. They've had better, and I've seen better. All we have to do is we play assignment football up front. We can absolutely be progressive.
Sterling-
Be productive. We can be productive up front.
Sterling, look,
We can be
I can
productive.
take a team of third graders and get them to play their assignments,
ain't
but if
gonna
they
help.
put them against Alabama, they're still going to get killed, whether they're following their assignments or not.
Well, I think like a quarterback. My thing is
Yeah.
you give me enough time to where I know what I got. And I know what I got. I'm gonna get that ball down the field. Period.
And I think though a good coach can help Matt. Like, there's no doubt we have inefficient. We got to get better guys. We got to like no one's
Yeah.
debating that fact. But when you're playing an Alabama team, I remember the first year I was with Coach Craig and Kiffin as a coach. You had bit Terrence Cody on one of the Solons brothers, who was 230, 240 at the time, or maybe a little more. They'd cut Cody every single play. And at some point, that defensive lineman's going to start not coming forward, and he's going to step back. Man, I got to protect my knees. But there's just little things that you can do, and it's still
Will
legal.
loves that.
Well, it sucks.
Well, he's seen it. He's
Terrible.
definitely seen it.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
He's seen it.
You've got tools to help mask inefficiencies at offensive line.
Then I can tell you right now, you're right. I didn't think about that. I'd have our offensive guard, center, and guard cutting every single play on everybody.
That's what we need.
Just take a lot of flags, but eventually
not
we'll wear
low.
the other team down.
No, not holding the guy
flags. All
coming in.
block.
but, yeah.
Legal.
Chop
yeah,
block.
legal chop
All
block.
legal.
Chop block.
Yeah.
Keep a couple tight ends in, our second best
I
blocker
mean,
there
you know.
for when we're going deep.
Yeah.
And when those guys get over aggressive, I'm telling you, as a quarterback, and I like the way Coach Helton's thinking right now. You can really do some things on over aggressive and use some of their strengths and make them their weaknesses.
Quarterback is the most mental aspect. There's no doubt. It takes more learning and stuff. But just like we're saying, if I've got a guy that's 230 pounds and is maybe not a great player, and there's an future all-pro defensive lineman, Reggie White on the other side, it doesn't matter what I think.
I agree
He's
with that.
coming through me like tissue paper.
You can still slow him down though.
You can
Just die slowly. Die slowly.
Die slowly.
fellas, it's a chess game out there. I can tell you that.
Well, here's the reality is this. This was a wasted week.
Yeah.
It's a waste. You guys can talk about, yeah, it's great to get the kids on the field. Okay, I understand that. But the
I wouldn't
reality
say
is,
waste.
it's a waste. It's a damn
No.
waste. You know why? Because we don't know a thing more about this football team than we did.
We
do in a couple areas.
We got to win. We got to win.
That
You know we got to
See,
We
win.
can beat East Tennessee.
Yeah, but
This
we
team
got
of
to win.
Tennessee needs to
I
move to the
take a
Southern
win.
Conference. They may win the Southern Conference.
What I'm saying
But
is
and you're not going to know anything after UTEP either. We're not going to know anything about this team. We're talking about
Florida.
good, bad, average. It's all we're all guessing. I think some of us are guessing based more on logic than others. What we're seeing, but it's all guessing. When they play Florida, we're going to have a much better idea, and I think that's going to be. Now, Florida sucks. They look awful. They look really
It's just
terrible.
going to say you're in the bottom,
we?
or you mid, or you have a chance to be mid. But it's not going to say more
Yeah,
than
if
being
you can
bottom or
if you
mid.
can beat Florida, then I'm going to think, okay, then maybe
and
they got a shot at 6-6. You lose to Florida.
5 and 6 is the best you're going to do.
Yeah, I don't think average is in reach anymore. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Thanks to all these guys, Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood, Will Overstreet, Brian Randolph, who I failed to introduce as we started our segment. Whatever.
Everybody
Thanks
knows
for
you.
joining. I never introduced myself either. So John Pennington says thanks, and we'll see you next Sunday for the Sports Source over on WATE.